It was a great game.
Great game last night.
The Bears.
The Bears coming through.
Oh, clutch.
You got to love it, right?
It was a fun night. I had some M&Ms after the game.
That's that good, huh?
Oh, was that good?
Well, the Pack lose that game. Let's start with them. 27-20 loss to Chicago. Last night paled in comparison to the loss of Aaron Rodgers, though. He suffered that fractured collarbone on the opening drive. Fox NFL insider Mike Garafolo is reporting that Rodgers does not need surgery, but is out indefinitely today. Rodgers discussed the injury.
I have a fractured collarbone. We haven't talked at all about timetable or anything. I think we're still going through the process of testing, and we do know that the collarbone is fractured. We still have not talked about or discussed any long-term prognosis. I've been a quick healer in the past, and am hopeful that this will be on the short end of whatever prognosis comes up.
Tough spot for the Pack. Obviously, Seneca Wallace steps in 11 of 19, 114 yards. He did throw an interception, but where does this team go from here? Because Aaron Rodgers is their clear leader, especially on offense.
He's the NFL MVP right now, if you ask me. You know, the best player in the NFL, best player on that team by far. And without him, you see what they can. I mean, they still ran the football surprisingly well without him, and I was surprised about that. But they can't throw it. Those receivers aren't as good without Aaron Rodgers in there. And their defense didn't look as easy last night. I know they're going to be in trouble. I know Clay Matthews comes back pretty soon, but they're in trouble if you ask me.
I mean, we talked about balance going into this game, the balance of passing attempts versus running attempts. And now this is going to put a lot of pressure on the running game. But, you know, what we saw from Eddie Lacy and from Starks, and Jonathan Franklin didn't even play last night, I don't think. You know, you've got the possibility of being able to get through these next 3 games, winning 2 out of 3, and be in good shape going into that big Thanksgiving Day game that we have here on Fox, as a matter of fact.
Well, you know, I think Seneca Wallace is a capable backup. I think you have to tailor what you do to fit his strengths. As Brian said, I believe Aaron Rodgers is, when you factor everything in, you know, athleticism, knowledge of the game, ability to go through his progressions, make the throws from any conceivable arm slot, off his back foot, his ability to change the play at the line of scrimmage, knows the offense inside and out. Seneca Wallace didn't take a snap during the week prior, so it's a lot to ask of a guy to walk in off the street, essentially, and pick this offense up and take over for Aaron Rodgers. Lacy is a game changer for me, and I think if you tailor the offense to what Seneca Wallace does well, make him comfortable, and you continue on the run of the power running game with Lacy, I think they have an opportunity. And we can't minimize the value of Matthews coming back. Matthews, to me, is as disruptive a front 7 player as we have in football.
Well, more on this story. Let's bring in Mike Garafolo, Fox NFL insider. Mike, obviously the latest on what's going on with Jermichael Finley is also a huge deal with Green Bay, but Aaron Rodgers with that collarbone, what's the latest right now?
Yeah, Joel, not a ton has changed since I filed that report last night for Fox Sports 1 from Lambeau Field, where I said this could be anywhere from a couple of weeks to a long-term injury. You know, this morning there were reports it's anywhere from 3 weeks to the rest of the season to somewhere in between. And I spoke to a Packers source and I said, who's right? And he said, everybody. And by that he means this thing is kind of indefinite. But I will say, as the day has gone on and they've gotten more information on it, they've chopped off the back end of that. I don't think anybody thinks this is going to be a season ender anymore. And you certainly heard that in what Mike McCarthy said today.
So with that information, are they looking to bring anybody else in? Obviously, Matt Flynn out there, a lot of people tying his name to Green Bay, even a guy like Vince Young, and there is also a guy on the open market, Brett Favre.
I knew where you were going with that one. You know what? We'll start with that one. You cut that out right now. That's not going to happen. Matt Flynn, hey, the Packers could have had him today for a minimum salary. The same price as they could have him tomorrow. They could have claimed him. They did not claim him. Matter of fact, no teams claimed him. He passed through waivers. He is now a free agent. There's been some questions about his arm. He had an elbow issue in the offseason. There is, again, some concerns about that. I don't see him going back there. Vince Young, by the way, I know a lot of people thought he flashed a little in the preseason. The Packers didn't think he played that well. Also, some questions about how well he meshed with Aaron Rodgers. You want your backup to help your starter out a little bit more. There were some questions about that, I'm told. I don't see him coming back.
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, bud.
You got it.